Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. Today, you are not stuck, you are not finished, and you are not done. Every single morning you wake up, God has given you a brand new opportunity to rebuild yourself. But the truth is, most people spend so much time looking at other people's lives, scrolling through what they got, worrying about who's doing better than them, that they forget the most important person they need to be focused on. You, when you stop comparing your journey to others and focus entirely on your own growth, you begin to reclaim the power that comparison has stolen from you for years. The truth is, the moment you take your eyes off your own path to watch someone else's, you risk losing your balance. You start doubting your progress, questioning your worth, and wondering why you don't have what they have. But you have to realize your race is different from theirs, your pace is different from theirs, and your destination is different from theirs. You can't measure your life with someone else's ruler because you have no idea what they went through to get to where they are. You might be looking at the highlight reel of their success without knowing the behind-the-scenes struggles, the sacrifices, and the battles they fought in private. When you make the conscious choice to focus on your own growth, you begin to shift your energy from competition to creation. See, instead of envying someone's success, you put that energy into building your own. You stop chasing after their timeline and start respecting your own. That's when you can actually see how far you've come, not in comparison to anyone else, but in comparison to who you were yesterday. Growth happens when you water your own garden. It happens when you wake up every day and ask yourself, what can I do today that moves me one step forward? It might be learning a new skill, reading a chapter of a book, practicing discipline, or simply taking better care of your body. Every small action compounds over time. The danger of comparison is that it blinds you to your progress because you're too busy counting someone else's blessings instead of noticing your own. When you choose focus over comparison, you start living with intention. You begin to appreciate your pace, even if it's slow, because slow progress is still progress. You learn to clap for yourself in private without waiting for the applause of others. You stop allowing social media to dictate your self-worth because you know those little squares don't tell the full story. You embrace the idea that your journey is yours for a reason. It's custom made for your strengths, your weaknesses, your lessons, and your destiny. Nobody else can walk it for you, and nobody else can finish it for you. There's peace that comes with staying in your lane, a peace that comparison can never give you. And the more you practice it, the more you realize that focusing on yourself is not selfish, it's necessary for growth. It allows you to hear your own voice clearly, to trust your instincts, and to act in alignment with your purpose. When you stop looking sideways and start looking forward, you stop tripping over things that don't matter. You put your head down, do the work, and let the results speak for themselves. That's how you build confidence, because confidence is born from keeping promises you make to yourself. And when you keep focusing on your own growth every day, you not only get closer to your goals, but you also become the kind of person who no longer needs to compete with anyone because you're too busy competing with the person you were yesterday. When you invest in yourself every single day, mentally, spiritually, physically, and financially, you make a commitment to becoming the best version of yourself. The truth is, nobody else is going to put in that work for you. Nobody's going to hand you a better mindset, stronger faith, a healthier body, or financial stability. That's your job, and it's a job you have to take seriously. Investing in yourself mentally means feeding your mind with information that challenges you, inspires you, and stretches you beyond your comfort zone. It means reading books, listening to podcasts, surrounding yourself with people who make you think bigger, and refusing to settle for the same thoughts that kept you stuck. A strong mind is a weapon, and when you sharpen it every day, you prepare yourself to handle life's battles with confidence and clarity. Spiritually investing in yourself means making time to connect with your faith, whatever that looks like for you. It means grounding yourself in values that give you direction when life gets chaotic, finding peace in prayer or meditation, and keeping your spirit strong so that when life throws storms your way, you're not easily shaken. A strong spirit fuels resilience, and resilience is what keeps you moving when everything else tells you to quit. Physically investing in yourself means respecting your body as the vessel that carries you through life. It's about moving daily, eating with intention, staying hydrated, and treating rest as a part of your growth plan. Too many people run themselves into the ground chasing success, only to realize they ignored their health in the process. You can't pour into your dreams if you're running on empty. Your body is your foundation, and when you care for it, it rewards you with energy, strength, and endurance. Financially investing in yourself means making choices today that secure your future. It's about learning how to manage your money, creating multiple streams of income, saving, and spending with discipline. It's about understanding that every dollar you waste is a dollar you could have used to build something lasting. Financial growth doesn't happen overnight. It's the result of consistent, intentional decisions that add up over time. Investing in yourself daily also requires discipline. It's not about doing one big thing every now and then. It's about doing small, meaningful actions consistently. It's the discipline of choosing a book over mindless scrolling, choosing a workout over excuses, choosing prayer over panic, and choosing saving over unnecessary spending. Those daily choices shape your future. The more you invest in yourself, the more valuable you become, not just in the eyes of others, but in your own. You begin to believe in your capabilities because you see yourself putting in the work. You develop confidence because you're proving to yourself that you're worth the effort. You begin to understand that self-investment is not selfish, it's essential. When you are mentally sharp, spiritually strong, physically healthy, and financially secure, you show up differently in the world. You handle challenges with strength, opportunities with readiness, and relationships with clarity. You stop relying on luck or waiting for someone to rescue you because you've equipped yourself with the tools to build the life you want. Every day you pour into yourself, you're making a deposit into your future. And those deposits eventually grow into the life you've been dreaming about. When you cut off distractions and remove toxic influences from your life, you create the space necessary for real growth to happen. Distractions are not always obvious. Sometimes they look like harmless entertainment, constant phone notifications, or people who seem supportive but quietly drain your energy. Every moment you spend giving attention to things that don't serve your purpose is a moment taken away from the work that could change your life. You have to get to a point where you value your time and your peace enough to protect them at all costs. Toxic influences can come in the form of negative people, environments that encourage bad habits, or even your own patterns of procrastination and self-doubt. These things might feel familiar or comfortable, but they keep you stuck in the same place. Letting go is not easy because it often means breaking ties, setting boundaries, and learning to be okay with disappointing others. But every time you say no to something that pulls you backward, you're saying yes to something that can move you forward. Cutting off distractions means being intentional with how you spend your day. It means asking yourself before you do anything, does this align with where I'm trying to go? If the answer is no, you have to be willing to walk away without guilt. This is especially important when it comes to people. Some relationships may have been good for you at one stage in life, but are no longer serving your growth. It doesn't make the other person bad, but it does mean that your paths are no longer aligned. And when your paths and their paths no longer lead in the same direction, you can't afford to keep walking together just for comfort's sake. Removing toxic influences requires self-awareness. You have to be honest with yourself about who and what is holding you back. Sometimes it's a friend who always speaks doubt into your dreams. Sometimes it's a workplace that constantly drains your creativity. Sometimes it's your own habit of spending hours doing things that add no real value to your life. Once you identify these things, you have to take action to distance yourself from them. That might mean turning off your phone for a few hours each day, unfollowing certain social media accounts, limiting conversations with certain people, or even moving away from environments that keep you stuck. The truth is, when you eliminate distractions, you discover just how much time and energy you actually have to pour into your goals. You start seeing results faster because your focus is no longer scattered in 10 different directions. You also notice your mental clarity improving because your mind isn't cluttered with unnecessary noise. The same applies when you remove toxic people. Your confidence grows, your motivation returns, and you find yourself surrounded by more uplifting and supportive energy. This shift doesn't happen overnight, but the more you practice it, the more natural it becomes to guard your space. People might not understand your decision to step back, but you have to remember that your growth is not up for debate. Protecting your focus is not about isolation, it's about preservation. It's about making sure you have the mental, emotional, and physical capacity to build the life you want. And when you commit to cutting off distractions and toxic influences every single day, you position yourself for the kind of success that can only come from a clear mind, a peaceful heart, and an environment that supports your progress. Accepting that rebuilding takes time, patience, and persistence is one of the most important mindsets you can develop if you truly want to change your life. Too many people quit halfway because they expect results to come quickly, and when they don't, frustration takes over. The reality is that rebuilding is a process, and processes are never instant. Just like a house cannot be built in a single day, your growth, your mindset, and your habits cannot be transformed overnight. You have to give yourself grace to go through the stages without rushing. Patience is what keeps you steady when progress feels slow, and persistence is what keeps you moving when challenges make the road feel impossible. Rebuilding often means tearing down old patterns, beliefs, and behaviors that have been with you for years, and that's not an easy thing to do. Sometimes you'll take one step forward and 2 steps back, but that doesn't mean you're failing. It means you're learning. Every setback teaches you something valuable if you're willing to pay attention. The problem is that in today's world, we are surrounded by instant gratification. We see quick success stories online and we think our journey should be just as fast, but what we don't see is the years of hard work behind those stories. Real rebuilding is about being consistent long after the excitement fades. It's about showing up for yourself on days when motivation is nowhere to be found. It's about pushing forward even when results are not yet visible, trusting that the work you put in today will pay off later. Patience also means understanding that growth is not always a straight line. There will be seasons where everything feels like it's falling into place, and other seasons where nothing seems to be moving at all. Both are part of the process. Sometimes the still seasons are when you're building the strongest foundation, even if it doesn't look like progress from the outside. Persistence is what separates those who succeed from those who give up too soon. It's the ability to keep going despite obstacles, to keep believing despite doubt, and to keep working despite fatigue. Persistence means you've made a decision that quitting is not an option, no matter how long it takes. It also means finding ways to adapt when things don't go as planned. The truth is, the path to rebuilding is rarely smooth. You will face moments of discomfort, sacrifice, and uncertainty, but those moments are shaping you into someone stronger and wiser. With time, you start to see that the struggles were necessary, because they gave you the resilience to handle what you're building. Every small step forward is proof that you're moving closer to your goals, even if it feels slow. There is a quiet strength that comes from not rushing the process, from trusting that what you're working toward is worth the wait. And when you combine patience with persistence, you create unstoppable momentum. You no longer get discouraged by delays because you understand that anything worth having will take time. You stop comparing your progress to others because you know your journey is uniquely yours. And every day you choose to keep going, you reinforce the belief that no matter how long it takes, you will finish what you started. Embracing change as a sign of progress, not something to fear, is one of the most freeing decisions you can make for your growth. Change is often uncomfortable because it disrupts the patterns and routines you've gotten used to, even if those patterns weren't serving you. It forces you to step into the unknown, and the unknown can feel risky. But the truth is, if nothing changes, nothing improves. Every breakthrough in life is built on a foundation of change, and every new opportunity requires you to leave something behind. Many people resist change because they confuse it with loss, but in reality, change is more about exchange. You are exchanging old habits for new ones, limiting beliefs for empowering ones, and outdated dreams for bigger possibilities. When you see change this way, it becomes easier to welcome it instead of fighting against it. Growth demands that you become someone different from who you were yesterday. And that transformation can only happen when you accept that change is part of the journey. The fear of change often comes from focusing on what you're leaving behind instead of what you're moving toward. If you constantly look backward, you'll miss the opportunities waiting ahead. You have to train your mind to see change as evidence that you're moving forward, even if the steps feel small or the path isn't fully clear yet. Sometimes the very thing you're afraid to let go of is the thing holding you back. It could be a job, a relationship, a comfort zone, or even an old version of yourself that no longer fits the person you're becoming. When you let go, you make space for better things to enter your life. Change also builds adaptability, and adaptability is a powerful skill because life will never stop evolving. The more willing you are to adjust, the stronger you become in the face of challenges. You start to see setbacks not as the end of your journey, but as redirections towards something better. Even when change feels forced, such as losing an opportunity or facing an unexpected obstacle, it often works out in your favor later because it pushes you toward growth you wouldn't have chosen on your own. Embracing change also means trusting yourself to handle what comes next. You don't have to know every detail of how things will work out. You just need to believe that you can figure it out as you go. That confidence grows each time you walk through change and realize you survived, learned, and even thrived. Over time, you stop fearing change altogether because you start associating it with the new strength, lessons, and opportunities it brings. You begin to see patterns, how every major positive shift in your life came from a moment when something changed, often unexpectedly. And instead of clinging to what's familiar, you start leaning into what's possible. Change is not a punishment. It's a pathway. It's the process by which you become who you were always meant to be. The sooner you embrace it, the sooner you position yourself for the progress you've been waiting for. When you stop resisting and start adapting, you open yourself up to a life that is not only fuller, but also more aligned with your true potential, and you realize that every change, whether chosen or forced, was shaping you for something greater than what you had before. Taking ownership of your life and starting to act on your goals now, not later, is the difference between people who dream and people who achieve. Too many individuals spend their lives waiting for the perfect moment, the right resources, or the ideal circumstances. But that perfect time never comes. Life will always have challenges, unexpected turns and reasons to delay, but the truth is that progress begins the very moment you decide to take responsibility for where you are and where you're going. Ownership means accepting that your future is shaped by your decisions, not by luck, not by other people, and not by fate alone. It means refusing to live as a passenger in your own life, being carried by circumstances, and instead choosing to be the driver who determines the destination. When you take ownership, you stop blaming others for your situation. You stop pointing fingers at your past, your upbringing, your environment, or your lack of resources, and you start focusing on what you can control right now. This shift in mindset is powerful because it puts the authority back in your hands. Acting on your goals now requires courage because starting before you feel ready feels risky. But waiting until you feel fully prepared is often just an excuse disguised as caution. Action creates momentum, and momentum makes the journey easier. Every small step you take today, even if imperfect, moves you closer to your vision. The habit of delaying action trains your mind to be comfortable with stagnation, while the habit of acting immediately trains you to adapt, learn, and grow. Taking ownership also means holding yourself accountable. You create clear goals, break them into actionable steps, and measure your own progress without relying on external motivation. Accountability forces you to face the truth about whether you're truly working toward your dreams or just talking about them. It eliminates the comfort of excuses and demands consistency when you start now. You also give yourself the gift of time. The earlier you begin, the more opportunities you create to adjust, improve, and expand your efforts. The more you delay, the less room you leave for learning from mistakes and building something sustainable. Many people overestimate what they can do in a day, but underestimate what they can accomplish in a year if they start immediately and stay consistent. Taking ownership and acting now also changes the way others see you. People begin to respect you, not just for what you say, but for what you do. You inspire those around you by being an example of initiative and persistence. You prove that results come from commitment, not from waiting for luck or permission. Acting now doesn't mean you have all the answers. It means you trust yourself to find them as you go. It means being willing to make mistakes, learn from them, and keep moving forward. It means replacing hesitation with action and fear with faith. Over time, this approach transforms you into someone who no longer waits for opportunities but creates them. When you live this way, you realize that the best time to start was yesterday, but the second best time is always today. And every day you delay is another day you could have been closer to the life you want.